Śrīmad Bhāgavatam of Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas. Translations and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. 8th Canto, Withdrawal of the Cosmic Creations. Chapter 3, Gajendra's Prayers of Surrender. And in this video, I'll be reading the translations and purports for texts 15 through 18. And in the table of contents, this section is described as the only shelter for all transcendentalists. Text 15. My Lord, you are the cause of all causes, but you yourself have no cause. Therefore, you are the wonderful cause of everything. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are the shelter of the Vedic knowledge contained in the Shastras, like the Pancharatras and Vedanta Sutra, which are your representations, and who are the source of the Parampara system. Because it is you who can give liberation, you are the only shelter for all transcendentalists. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described herein as the wonderful cause. He is wonderful in the sense that, although there may be unlimited emanations from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Janmadyasya Yataha, he always remains complete. Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vishishyate. In our experience in the material world, if we have a bank balance of $1 million, as we withdraw money from the bank, the balance gradually diminishes until it becomes nil. However, the Supreme Lord, the Personality of Godhead, is so complete that although innumerable personalities of Godhead expand from him, he remains the same Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vashishyate. Therefore, he is the wonderful cause. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Satchid Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govindaha Sarva Karana Karanam. Quote, Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the Supreme Controller. He has an eternal blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, for he is the prime cause of all causes. Unquote. Brahma Samhita 5.1. Even in this material world, we can understand that the sun has existed for millions of years and has given off heat and light since its creation. Yet, the sun still retains its power and never changes. What then is to be said of the Supreme Cause, Parang Brahma, Krishna? Everything emanates from him perpetually, yet he maintains his original form, Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Krishna personally says in Bhagavad Gita 10.8, Mata Sarvang Pravartate, quote, everything emanates from me, unquote. Everything emanates from Krishna eternally, yet he is the same Krishna and does not change. Therefore, he is the shelter of all transcendentalists who are eager to get free from material bondage. Everyone must take shelter of Krishna. It is therefore advised. Akamaha sarva kamo va, moksha kama udara dihi, tivrena bhakti yogena, jajata purushang param. Quote, whether one desires everything or nothing, or desires to merge into the existence of the Lord, He is intelligent only if he worships Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by rendering transcendental loving service, unquote. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 2:3-10. Parang Brahma, the Supreme Lord, and Parang Dhamma, the Supreme Repose, is Krishna. Therefore, anyone who desires anything, whether he be a karmi, a jnani, or a yogi, should try to perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead very seriously, and all of his desires will be fulfilled. The Lord says, Je jata mang prapadyante tangs tataiva bhajamyaham. Quote, as the living entities surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Unquote. Even the karmi, who wants everything for his enjoyment, can get it from Krishna. For Krishna, supplying what he wants is not at all difficult. Actually, however, one should worship Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for the sake of getting liberation. Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedyaha. By studying the Vedic literature, one should understand Krishna. As confirmed here, sarva gamam naya maharnavaya. He is the ocean, and all Vedic knowledge flows toward him. Therefore, intelligent transcendentalists take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekang sharanam vraja. This is the ultimate goal. Text 16. Translation. My Lord. As the fire in Arani wood is covered, you and your unlimited knowledge are covered by the material modes of nature. Your mind, however, is not attentive to the activities of the modes of nature. Those who are advanced in spiritual knowledge are not subject to the regulative principles directed in the Vedic literatures. Because such advanced souls are transcendental, you personally appear in their pure minds. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 10:11 it is said, Teshang eva nu kampartam aham agyana jam tamaha nasha yam yatma bhavasto jnana dipena basvata. For a devotee who has taken the lotus feet of the Lord within his heart, the Lord gives spiritual enlightenment, known as Jnana Dipa, by special mercy from within. This Jnana Dipa is compared to the fire hidden within Arani wood. To perform fire sacrifices, great sages previously did not ignite a fire directly. The fire would be invoked from Arani wood. Similarly, all living entities are covered by the modes of material nature, and the fire of knowledge can be ignited only by the Supreme Personality of Godhead when one takes him within one's heart. Savai manaha Krishna padar vindayoho. If one takes seriously the lotus feet of Krishna, who is seated within one's heart, the Lord eradicates all ignorance. By the torch of knowledge, one immediately understands everything properly by the special mercy of the Supreme Lord and becomes self-realized. In other words, although a devotee may externally not be very well educated, because of his devotional service, the Supreme Personality of Godhead gives him enlightenment from within. If the Lord gives enlightenment from within, how can one be in ignorance? Therefore, the allegation of the Mayavadis that the devotional path is for the unintelligent or uneducated is untrue. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunais tatra samasate suraha. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 5:18-12. If one becomes an unalloyed devotee of the Supreme Lord, he automatically manifests all good qualities. Such a devotee is above the instructions of the Vedas. He is a Paramahamsa. even without going through the Vedic literature, a devotee becomes pure and enlightened by the mercy of the Lord. Quote, "Therefore, my Lord," the devotee says, "I offer my respectful obeisances unto you." Unquote. Text 17 translation. Since an animal such as I has surrendered unto you, who are supremely liberated, certainly you will release me from this dangerous position. Indeed, being extremely merciful, you incessantly try to deliver me. By your partial feature as Paramatma, you are situated in the hearts of all embodied beings. You are celebrated as direct transcendental knowledge, and you are unlimited. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. The words Brihate Namaste have been explained by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Brihate Sri Krishnaya. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna. There are many tattvas, such as Vishnu Tattva, Jiva Tattva, and Shakti Tattva. But above everything is the Vishnu Tattva, which is all-pervading. This all-pervading feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is explained in Bhagavad Gita 10:42, wherein the Lord says, Ata va bahunaitena king gyatena tavarjuna vishta bhyaham idang krit snam ekang shena stito jagat. Quote, "But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe." Unquote. Thus, Krishna says that the entire material world is maintained by his partial representation as Paramatma. The Lord enters every universe as Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and then expands himself as Kshirodakshay Vishnu to enter the hearts of all living entities and even enter the atoms. Andantarasta paramanu cha yantarastam. Every universe is full of atoms, and the Lord is not only within the universe, but also within the atoms. Thus, within every atom, the Supreme Lord exists in his Vishnu feature as Paramatma, but all the Vishnu tattvas emanate from Krishna. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 10:2, Aham adir hi devanam. Krishna is the Adi, or beginning, of the Devas of this material world, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshvara. Therefore, he is described here as Bhagavate Brihate. Everyone is Bhagavan, everyone possesses opulence, but Krishna is Brihan Bhagavan, the possessor of unlimited opulence. Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishnaha. Krishna is the origin of everyone. Ahang Sarvasya Prabhavaha. Even Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshvara come from Krishna. Mataha Para Tarang Nanyat Kinchid Asti Dhananjaya. There is no personality superior to Krishna. Therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Bhagavate Brihate means, quote, unto Sri Krishna, unquote. In this material world, everyone is a pashu, an animal, because of the bodily conception of life. Yasyatma buddhihi kunapetri dhatuke, swadihi kalatradishu bhoma idya dihi, yat tirtha buddhihi salilena karhichjij, Janeshwa Bijeshu Saeva Go Karaha. Quote, a human being who identifies the body made of three elements as the self, who considers the byproducts of the body to be his kinsmen, who considers the land of his birth to be worshipable, and who goes to a place of pilgrimage simply to bathe, rather than to meet men of transcendental knowledge, there is to be considered like a cow or an ass, unquote. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 10:84-13. Practically everyone, therefore, is a pashu, an animal, and everyone is attacked by the crocodile of material existence. Not only the king of the elephants, but every one of us is being attacked by the crocodile and is suffering the consequences. Only Krishna can deliver us from this material existence. Indeed, he is always trying to deliver us. Ishvaraha sarva bhutanang hrid deshe arjuna tishtati. He is within our hearts and is not at all inattentive. His only aim is to deliver us from material life. It is not that he becomes attentive to us only when we offer prayers to him. Even before we offer our prayers, he incessantly tries to deliver us. He is never lazy in regard to our deliverance. Therefore, this verse says, Buddhi karunaya namo layaya. It is the causeless mercy of the Supreme Lord that he always tries to bring us back home, back to Godhead. God is liberated, and he tries to make us liberated. But although he is constantly trying, we refuse to accept his instructions. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekang sharanam vraja. Nonetheless, he has not become angry. Therefore, he is described here as Buddhi Karunaya, unlimitedly merciful in delivering us from this miserable material condition of life and taking us back home, back to Godhead. Text 18 translation. My Lord, those who are completely freed from material contamination always meditate upon you within the cores of their hearts. You are extremely difficult to attain for those like me who are too attached to mental concoction, home, relatives, friends, money, servants, and assistants. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, uncontaminated by the modes of nature. You are the reservoir of all enlightenment, the Supreme Controller. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes into the material world, he is unaffected by the modes of material nature. This is confirmed in Ishopanishad. Apapa vidham. He is not contaminated. This same fact is described here. Guna sangha vivarjitaya. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears as an incarnation within this material world, he is unaffected by the modes of material nature. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9:11, Avajananti mang mudha manushin tanum asritam. Foolish men with insufficient knowledge deride the personality of Godhead because he appears just like a human being. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be understood only by the Mukatma, the liberated soul. Muktatma, the liberated soul. Muktatma bihi swahridaye paribhavitaya. Only the liberated person can constantly think of Krishna. Such a person is the greatest of all yogis. Yogi nam api sarveshang mad gate nan taratmana Shradhavan bhajate yo mang sa me jukta tamo mataha. Quote, of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. Unquote. Bhagavad Gita 6:47.